Coming to that interview, and the Pan Africanist Congress of South Africa, the PAC, has cancelled its 60th commemoration of the Sharpeville and Langa Day that was planned for tomorrow. Now, the party says that it joins the fight against COVID-19 and fully understands the importance of President Cyril Ramaphosa's call to limit public events. Now, this despite the fact that preparations were already at an advanced stage. The annual event is the remembrance of those who died in Sharpeville, which is, of course, an old township in the former Vaal Triangle here in Gauteng. This brutal incident took place on the 21st of March 1960 when the apartheid police fired live ammunition at a crowd of people demanding the abolition of past laws that were imposed on black people. Now, the brutal police reaction left 69 people dead and more than 180 wounded, causing international outcry. And the United Nations Security Council passed Resolution 134, which led to increasing international isolation of the South African apartheid government after that event. And after the abolition of apartheid in 1994, the date is annually commemorated as Human Rights Day. Pooe, who is a PAC Secretary General, joins us now via Skype. Good morning. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Good morning, Shatina, and all the viewers of Morning Life.
Now, obviously, your preparations for tomorrow's events were at an advanced stage. But perhaps just to speak to those, if the message hasn't yet filtered through to people who are intending on participating in this event, just a quick explanation of why the cancellation took place.
Sabina, as you can see, I'm also having my hand sanitizer. We are heeding the call of the President and the country in general. We are joining the fight against this coronavirus. So we will not be gathering in masses or having a big gathering like we had planned. So we are calling on all our members that the PAC has postponed the event indefinitely. We have communicated that through all our communication channels. But further than that, we are calling on the members of the public to heed and accept that we are in a crisis in the country and everybody should join the fight against coronavirus. But however, Sakina, as you correctly pointed out, we had already our plans were in an advanced stage. Tomorrow we're going to open a plaque and a wall of remembrance at Sharpeville. We were also going to gather with the survivors, and we were having a lot of other activities planned in Sharpeville, but we have all scaled those plans down. Tomorrow we'll only unveil the plaque with adhering to the minimum number of people as stipulated in the regulations. That means we are not going to have more than 100 people at the occasion where we are going to unveil the plaque, but we'll also having the survivors, people who were actually part of the occasion in 1960.
Now, you talk about the unveiling of a plaque. There is, of course, an official commemoration site. So why is the PAC unveiling a new plaque? Just explain that to us, please.
No, that plaque that was there was vandalized somehow. We don't know how it happened. So the PAC had to refurbish and renew it. So this is the plaque that we have refurbished. It's not a complete new plaque, but everything. Remember that site was declared a heritage site, but somehow vandals managed to vandalize it. But we are attending to that.
So tomorrow officially known as Human Rights Day in South Africa, but the PAC calls it Sharpeville Day. Now, this has been obviously an issue of contention. Why is it important for the PAC that this day be called Sharpeville Day?
We don't want to lose the meaning. And for us, it's not only even Sharpeville Day, it's Sharpeville Langa Day, because people were killed both in Sharpeville and in Langa. And we don't celebrate
day, we commemorate the day, because we believe that when you commemorate your occasion, it's a solemn occasion as opposed to when you can celebrate the death of your people. So as the PAC, we don't associate with those who are celebrating the day. And we believe that any other day can be used to celebrate the human rights except this day. This day should remain a solemn day where we remember our martyrs of Sharpeville. That's why, as the PAC, even after the advent of democracy, you will recall that Sakina, initially this day was not declared a public holiday. It was as a result of PAC fight that this day was declared eventually a public holiday around 1997. Even after then the government continued to claim that they want to celebrate the day, and the PAC has remained steadfast that this day should not be celebrated, but rather should be commemorated.
Now, you indicated earlier during this conversation, Appa, that some of the survivors from that day will also be in attendance at that plaque unveiling that has now been scaled down considerably. But I understand the PAC also wants to pursue reparations for the survivors, some of them. Explain to us that particular process and how far along you are.
Sakina, during the TRC processes, many of the survivors of Sharpeville were left out. Even those that were identified were not paid reparations. And we wanted to focus this year towards ensuring that there are reparations. We call on government to pay reparations, not only government, but also remember that apartheid has also supported some of the private corporations. We will also be calling on them to contribute towards a fund that will pay reparations for the Sharpeville Massacre survivors, many of whom are very destitute, many of whom are unable to send their kids to school, many of whom are living in hunger and squalor. So we had dedicated this year that there should be a focus towards that, towards ensuring that the people of Sharpeville get reparations. And even in our meeting with the state president on Wednesday, we had instructed the PAC president to communicate with the president of the country that we need to focus on the Sharpeville reparations. And we also need, much as we have postponed the events of the 21st, which is tomorrow, we have requested the president to set another date aside after epidemic has subsided. A day should be set aside wherein, as a country, we can commemorate and make sure that we highlight and focus on the plight of people of Sharpeville and Langa.
Now, you say you have, through your president, requested the president to focus specifically on Sharpeville Massacre reparations. Why not a more broader call for other people who also were victims and survivors of apartheid atrocities?
No, we are not excluding anyone else. It's just that when it's 21st, all the focus is on the Sharpeville. We are calling on everybody that should be repatriated, that should happen. But however, what happened in Sharpeville is that few people were called to TRC. Remember, there were a group of people that were survivors of Sharpeville, and when during the TRC processes, only representatives were called to come and testify. And those representatives were then identified as people who are eligible for reparations. So many of those people were excluded. Hence, we are calling that the focus should be on Sharpeville, not that we are going to exclude other people, because now we are commemorating the 21st. On any other day, we will be calling on other peoples as well to be compensated for the suffering that they went through as a result of apartheid. But for now, because many of our people in Sharpeville not get these reparations, So hence the focus on the 21st.
And what sort of reparation are you calling for?
We are calling on financial reparations. We are calling on social upliftment programs. Even as an organization now, we are involved in trying to resuscitate tourism industry that is going to be wholly owned by the survivors so that they can be able to act out a living. We are working very hard on many programs that can really take them out of the poverty that they find themselves in as a result of having lost loved ones, as a result of having lost breadwinners, where many kids became orphaned because of this day. So those are the things that we are looking at. Over and above reparations, financial reparations that the government should provide. And you also know that even in Sharpeville, the service delivery issues are very rife. There are problems where there's unemployment in Sharpeville and all of that. And we say, in the name of these Matthias, people who really sacrifice their life for this democracy, the government should contribute towards upliftment of our people.
Well, we'll leave it there for now. And thanks to the PAC Secretary, Pooe, for talking to us about the cancellation of the 60th commemoration of the 21st of March remembrance of the Sharpeville and Langa massacres. And one almost forgets that tomorrow is a public holiday, 21st of March, and officially Human Rights Day. The PAC wants it to be remembered as Sharpeville and Langa Day. So that's taking place, or not taking place, scaled down tomorrow. It's time now for your 7 o'clock news.